Hey, how's it going everybody? Welcome back to another video. It's your host, Rising Oblivion. Today, guys, we're going to be talking about my game of the year. So, before we jump into this though, go ahead and tell me your favorite game of the year down in the comment section below. And I kind of want to see what all you guys loved playing this year, because I want some new games going into 2022 that I know that are going to be pretty good, that I can start playing pretty much immediately as I go into 2022. But this is going to be my favorite games of the year, and the final thing that we talk about in this video is going to be my #1 top game of the year, and we are going to be including remasters and sort of remakes within this video. If you don't count that, then just count the one before that, and that'll be my favorite game, I guess, of the year. But let's just start things off with one of the newer games that I got at the very beginning of the year, and it's so hard and crazy to think that Persona 5 Strikers came out this year. So Persona 5 Strikers is actually one of the first newer games that I had gotten this year, and to be honest, not a very bad game, but I wasn't such a big fan of the combat. While I did like that it gave us some more story, gave some more, needed airtime for certain characters like Haru, Yusuke kind of needed some stuff as well, which I really liked in that game. A lot of cool new environments, newer characters like Sophia was great, and having Zenkichi as well. Super fun characters, and I'm so glad we got to have them. Like I said though, it's the gameplay that sort of got me twisted in some ways that I didn't necessarily like it. I like a lot of the Persona spin-offs. I like the dancing games and whatnot, and I really look forward to playing the arena game that's going to be coming out early next year, but for some reason Persona 5 Strikers just wasn't quite doing it for me. I wasn't a very big fan of the, I think it's Mozu's the kind of people who make that game, so they call them like Mozu games or whatever. I'm not a big fan of that combat style. I like the turn-based stuff, or if it's going to be a spin-off, I'd rather it be, something else, I guess. There's very few sort of hack and slashy games that do it like that, where they try to incorporate JRPG elements, like turn-based JRPG elements, that do it right. And as far as I can tell, Final Fantasy VII Remake is really the only game that I've seen that's done that correctly. Either like them full-on hack and slash like Kingdom Hearts, or I'd rather have it just be flat-out turn-based like we have with Persona 5 Royal. So when it comes to that game, gameplay-wise, I wasn't a huge fan, but like I said, the story and everything else in it is pretty good. Overall, I'd give that game like a 7 out of 10. It's not too bad, but the gameplay for me sort of lacked on a little bit and became a little bit sour for me anyway. But moving on over later within the year, of course, we got SMT 5. I was supposed to keep this kind of relevant. Honestly, I didn't have a ton of games that I had gotten this year, other than just a few of them. And, this is an Atlus channel, so we're trying to keep Atlus oriented. But I did get a few other games, like, the new Call of Duty game. It's alright, and a couple different games throughout the year. And, I played Super Mario, Bowser's Fury, which is kind of a new game, but a lot of it's not a lot of new content in there. So when I was thinking of making this video, I found it kind of hard. I'm like, what exactly was like a new game I played this year? I just realized, like, I played so many old games. If you go look at all my streams, we have SMT3, Persona 4, we have, we started Persona 3, we played Kingdom Hearts 1, Kingdom Hearts 2. We have so many old games that we went through this year. This year just felt so stale for some reason. I don't know why, even though last year had like Cyberpunk, but I also had Final Fantasy VII, which I thought was one of the greatest games I'd ever played, and I still think it's one of my most favorite games of all time. I absolutely love that game. I'm going to be running through Final Fantasy VII, the original one, very soon. A lot of people tell me if I like the remake that I'll probably like the original game even more, so I plan on doing that. So that might be why this list is kind of short, and we even went over the Amnesia games and stuff like that, which are like some of the first real big PC games ever. There's just so many old games that I ended up running through. So like when it comes to like newer stuff that I got this year that's, Atlus oriented and pretty much stuff that sort of correlates with this channel, it's really just Strikers, SMT3, and SMT5. There really wasn't anything else that came from Atlus other than that, and Strikers was kind of poor for me, and SMT5, as we all kind of kept playing through it, we realized there was just a little bit of something missing from that. There was just a little bit of magic that we didn't quite have, that I feel like we, really had a hold of when it came to some of these older games. I played through Persona 4 Golden this year. It's a tremendous story, very good characters. Yes, the gameplay is a little old, it's a little bit dated, sure, when you compare it to something like Persona 5. I mean, such a long gap in time, you know, almost like 10 years worth, where they have a lot more time to develop, you know, quality of life things, compendium stuff, you know, transitions for the battles, different things like that, new mechanics, new gameplay mechanics, you know, obviously better graphics, better resolution, it's in HD and everything, but still, whenever I try to compare different Atlus titles together, even Shin Megami Tensei 3 to Shin Megami Tensei 5, even though I found SMT3 to be kind of older, or like Persona 4 to be kind of older, I still felt like I enjoyed those older games a little bit more than I did SMT5. But don't get me wrong, I absolutely love SMT5. I think it's a good game, but I also love like Persona 4 Golden and SMT3 a lot as well. And just that much little more I think is enough reason for me to feel like I love Persona 4 Golden or SMT3 just a little bit more than SMT5. SMT5 looks beautiful, gameplay is beautiful, a lot of quality of life changes in here, but I think it falls a little bit flat on the story and a little bit flat when it comes to character details and character analysis and whatnot. And this isn't just the Persona side of me coming out, talking about we need to be able to romance these characters, we need to be able to talk to them about, but no, like legitimately, like SMT3 I felt like did a little bit of a better job when it came to this kind of stuff. It was very clear what they wanted through certain characters, and SMT3 also has, you know, like characters like Raidu, it has characters like Dante, it has characters that make sense where they are and what they're doing, what their goals are. You can search around the world and find the lore that is there for those characters. It's also fun to find that lore. Even though it doesn't have to tell you that much stuff about what is going on, you don't need tons of dialogue, which SMT5 did. Somehow SMT3 was actually able to patch in the lore behind those characters and what they wanted, where their goals were, things with Lucifer as well, and the teacher, what her goals were, why she did all the things she did for the world, your friend, the goofy dude with the hat who ends up becoming super cringy later on. It all makes sense. The characters are there. The story is there, the gameplay is there. Honestly, if I have to say it, I think SMT3 hits every single front when it comes to this. There could be a little bit more in the story, there could be a little bit more maybe on the gameplay and whatnot, because it is an older game, it kind of makes sense like that. That's why I'm saying, through all the games that I played this year, I think it sort of goes like this for me. I think it goes Strikers, then it goes like Persona 4, or no, it goes like Strikers, SMT5, Persona 4 Golden, and then I think SMT3 is going to be the top. If we're keeping it relevant to sort of stuff with the channel here with Atlus and everything, even if not, I still think SMT3 is my most favorite JRPG, most favorite game of the year. Last year it was Final Fantasy VII Remake because I just felt like, man, that game had such unique, you know, gameplay to it, and an awesome story, and it looked beautiful, and it had great music. Like I said, it hit everything about every front. Some of the side quests were kind of dull, some of the dialogue was kind of dull at times too, but overall that game still was like a solid, you know, 9 out of 10 for me. And honestly, I think SMT5 is, you know, more like an 8 for me, while SMT3 is more like a 9. Like I said, I still love SMT5. It's a very good game. However, I just think SMT3 and like Final Fantasy VII Remake are just maybe one notch above because of those different things. I look for 5 or 6 different key points when it comes to my favorite games and what I judge them as being my favorite games, and a lot of times it's story, it's atmosphere, gameplay as well. Gameplay obviously should be number one, I believe, whenever it comes to a game. A game should be fun to play. Then worrying about lore of characters, story, atmosphere, music, you know, quality of life changes, how does the game progress from its past predecessors, which I feel like a lot of them have actually done. One of the few things that I don't actually like about SMT3 is because it feels like it's old, because guess what, it's old, it's a remake. It doesn't have a ton of the quality of life changes like SMT5 does, so SMT5 does have that over SMT3. However, SMT3 I think has the lore, the atmosphere, the, you know, just uniqueness of the characters and whatnot there that I think push it a little bit more and have it go a little bit further than what SMT5 has. Not to mention the multitude of endings that you get in SMT3 feel way more significant and feel way more different than what you get in SMT5. For some reason, whenever you play SMT3, you're just like, this could go anywhere. the lore of these characters could bring you to so many different places, and you could go to so many different, you know, ways on how to get there as well. These places that you go to feel significant. While in SMT5, it's like, there's these big other gods that could easily be doing this stuff for you. Technically, you don't have to be there to the very, very, very end of all of it. The other gods, you know, like, you know, Thor or, you know, Odin or Zeus or whatever, they could have dealt with everything that you did in SMT5 without you. You are not significant. Literally in SMT3 though, if you don't step up and start doing things, the whole world's gonna crumble down. You need to be there. You have to fight these people who keep rising up and becoming stronger. With SMT3, it felt like a battle between a lot of different people who were on somewhat level ground trying to one-up each other till eventually you reach an ending where you hit a conclusion. While SMT5, there's a bunch of these bigger gods ahead of you, and no matter what you do, they're technically always stronger than you till you get to the very, very end. And this sort of makes it feel like, you know what, if this did get out of control, some other god would come in and fix this for me. Which is one flaw that I've noticed in SMT5. Another flaw is just a lot of the significance when it comes to the dungeons. It's not there. I do like the open world aspect of SMT5, I do think it's fun. However, I miss some of the more classic type of dungeon stuff. And I'm not talking like SMT3 like dungeon stuff. Like the stuff in SMT, you know, or Persona 5 or like SMT4, more dungeons like that feel right. And according to how SMT4 sort of goes, you do have these bigger kind of open up areas that have some of the classic dungeons in them. I think for SMT5 to possibly beat SMT3 for me, I think another version of the game coming out would actually do it for me. Now, I'm not saying that they should always do this every single time, because, you know, a lot of the Persona games got that. SMT3 got different iterations, you know, the Dante, the Raidu ones, and some other stuff. So it has happened to an SMT game. It's not exclusive to just Persona. It's happened before. And SMT4's like second iteration is kind of Apocalypse, but not really. So I guess that one, for the most part, doesn't count all the way. But if SMT5 got a second iteration, a second game, you know, SMT5, the Demon Edition, where it's like different, or I don't know what the hell they call it, but they could, Bethel Edition maybe, I don't know. But if that had a second iteration that maybe came out next year that fixed a little bit of the lore of the characters, a little more drive opposed to what they're behind, you know. There's so many characters, you know, Zuru's sister didn't have anything pretty much, man. Like, there's nothing there. You have to do a bunch of side quests to even figure out a little bit of what she wants. At least give us enough to understand the direction of the character beforehand without having to lock it behind side quests. They should give us a little bit more than that. Talking about some of the other characters as well, giving some more lore behind them, even if it is side quests or purely just a couple extra boss fights or maybe an extra dungeon or two. That might be enough to actually fill in the gaps that we kind of see there and give us enough information to sort of make us feel more significant and have these characters feel a little more significant and the lore behind them feel a little more significant, so you can understand the direction that they're going in and whether or not you want to, you know, actually side with them. Like, when it comes to Ichiro Dazai, the only reason I don't want to be around him is because I feel like he's just a bimbo that's just following Abdiel around no matter what she does, and that to me doesn't seem right, because, bro, you're just simping over her. Like, come on, bro. Geez, you just see some golden titties and all of a sudden you're just like 100% fixated on this god? It just doesn't seem like enough. If they actually fix him up a little bit, give us a little more explanation behind it, I could definitely see why you might want to actually pick him then if they decide to work on it a little bit more. Like I said though, if they do those types of things to maybe a second iteration of SMT5, I definitely feel like that game could be like a 9 out of 10 for me. It possibly could be SMT3 for me. But when it comes down to it though, I feel like SMT3 just gives me so much more drive. It just feels so much more, I don't know, just exciting and fun to play it just in general. Whenever I play SMT3, it feels fun. The atmosphere feels great. The music feels great. I feel significant in the world. I think I understand the characters enough, the demons, everything else. It all just sort of makes sense and lines up and feels great. While SMT5 at times, I feel like I don't understand what we're doing, why we're there, and what the characters are really trying to aim for. It feels kind of mid at times, but I don't know. The game has good quality of life changes, it looks better, feels better, does play pretty good as well, so it's definitely a good game. So when it comes down to it, I give SMT3 like a 9 out of 10. It's a damn good game. Please play it if you've never played it. The remaster is not too bad. Maybe skip out on getting on PC. I think it's still kind of clunky there. I'm not 100% sure, but the Switch version, you know, it's going to run a little more poopier because it's a Switch. But if you have a PS4, definitely go for it. It's a very good game, very fun game, super fun. I played on PS4, had zero problems running it. Very good game. Don't worry about playing it on that. But SMT5, still not bad. If you got a Switch, it's a good 8 out of 10, I think. Persona 5 Strikers, if you like that type of gameplay, you definitely will love it. And we did Persona 4 Golden this year as well. Again, another classic Persona game. Such a beloved game as well. I would definitely try playing Golden over the, you know, just regular version. If you go to Persona on the store, on the Steam store, if you have a PC, you can get it there, and you also get the arena game sort of bundled in together, which will be hella cool and hella nice. Although I'd hold your horses because who knows, we might end up getting that on console one day. But I think that's going to be it for now, guys. SMT3 is my game of the year. I know it's a remake. I know maybe it doesn't count. If not, then I'm going to say SMT5. But the thing is, that means my favorite game of the year is like an 8 out of 10. But to be honest, 2021... not the best year, man. Not the best year. Had a lot of fun streaming and playing games with everybody, but not the best year. Oh yeah, Pokemon Brilliant Diamond, hella fun. I'm still in the middle of it, kind of. I'm towards the end, so I didn't include that in here. Maybe I'll talk about that in its own video sometime, but this is sort of your Atlus video, I guess you could say, for my channel. SMT3, that's my game of the year. If not, SMT5. And if you think that's bad, well, this year was bad, so sorry. Thank you all for watching. Please like, comment, subscribe for more content. I will see you on the next video. Until then, see you later.